What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Green Dreamers. I'm your host, Nate, and today we are going to be building a deck. It's actually one that I played against on my last video. For all of those who didn't see it or may not remember, that was a Tyrell Banner of the Wolf deck. Now, I thought this deck was super interesting. I loved playing against it. Now, we're not going to copy this deck card for card. Obviously, we couldn't do that because we didn't see my opponent's entire deck, but even the cards we did see in my last video, I'm not necessarily going to put in. But I think this is going to be a great video for newer players who are just starting out and maybe don't know about all the resources out there, such as the deck builder we're going to be using, which is Thrones DB, and more experienced players will just get a kick out of listening to your buddy Nate talk for a little bit. This is going to be a shorter video because the deck we build today, I'm going to play in my next video, which will be probably on Friday, so look out for that. But let's just get started. Let's jump right into the process. So the first thing I do when building a deck is I go to thronesdb.com. I've actually got this bookmarked right here. And if you're new to this website, you're going to want to create an account, which is super easy. You just, I imagine, go over here, or it will prompt you to create an account. But once you have an account, then you can start building decks. You can look at other decks. Um, all right, so for me, I want to go to My Decks, and then you're going to come over here to New Deck, and this is how I build all my decks. You can see some of my other decks that I have in here. You can save, like, literally hundreds of decks in here. So this is a great resource to use if you have a deck that you're just thinking about, and you're like, I wonder what these cards would look like together. It's a great tool. I use it with all my deck building, and it works really well with the Iron Throne, which we're going to be using to play with the deck. So let's just get started. We'll come over here, and the first thing it has you do is choose your faction and agenda. And this honestly should be the first decision you make when you're building any deck, is what house do I want to play and what do I want to do with that house. You should always have a kind of win condition that you're trying to meet when building a deck. Even if it's not like a really popular one or even a consistent one, you usually want to have some game plan in mind. So with this deck, we're thinking it's going to be a more attrition heavy deck, so we know it's House Tyrell, Banner of the Wolf. So this shows you all of the agendas. You've got all the houses. Honestly, it makes deck building super easy. Banner of the Wolf. Sorry about that. All right, then you go to create the deck, and the first thing that I always do when deck building is I start out with the plots. A lot of people start out with like maybe the characters first of all, because that's easy, but I think plots are the best way to go. That way, everything you put in the deck kind of stems from the plots that you have. You know, you think about economy locations. I know that this deck definitely needs a lot of gold. Why can I not drag this down? All right. Deck needs a lot of gold, so it's going to have trading with the Pentoshi. We know that the deck runs First Snow of Winter, which is a good way to keep characters off the board. And remember, the goal for this deck is going to be really atrocious and just getting characters off the board. With Ramsey, we're running 2 March to the Wall. One of the things I really like about this deck, because it's Tyrell, you get pulling the strings, which is basically a second trade routes, because everyone runs trade routes. And so then it's neat, you don't have to use your second plot on like a second trade routes, even though this deck is in need of a lot of gold. You've got a lot of expensive cards you need to play out, so we can't run 2 trade routes, we're running 2 March to the Wall, but that pulling the strings lets us, you know, kind of run a second trade routes. So I really like this plot. And you can see how many plots you have. You've got 6. So what was the other plot they had? Of Valor. Now, I think I like Valor to Hyris. I know that's what the other deck was playing. But if you use First Snow of Winter, then they're only going to have 4 costs or higher. So they could at most keep 2 characters if you first know and then play this, and then you could like Ward and Ramsey and then get rid of all their characters or something. But like, so I think that's the right reset. I like Valor Morghulis for sure, but I don't know. And we might change this, and that's okay. Like we have our general game plan. We know we're going to run 2 March. We know we're going to run some resets, and then we need gold. So that might change, but now that we have the building blocks, the very base, we can just jump in with characters. This is the next addition I like to add to the deck. And we'll do Arya. So this deck is going to be running Skagos, and that's something to consider when you're choosing your characters. Skagos, for those who don't know, just lets you put a second copy of a card from your deck into play, and then you sacrifice the first one. So if you have Ramsey, for instance, he comes into play, boom, sacrifices a character. You can Skagos him to put another Ramsey into play immediately, and then both people have to sack someone. And then we're also going to be running Isle of Ravens in this deck, so you can put the Ramses that go to your discard pile back in your deck. It's a really vicious chain, but the point is we are going to have Skagos, and with that in mind, I kind of like this sneaky little combo, having 2 of these Arya and 1 of the cannot be saved. Because this deck also runs Roos, and it's going to be running Might of the Reach to make Roos a killing machine. Having an Arya out, like maybe against Greyjoy, could be really bad. So I like this. We might change this after playtesting, but that's kind of the first thought I had because I'm running Skagos. All right, so going down the line, Bolton Flayer is a great way of keeping cards off the table. He's got super good stats, and honestly, Stark is really good in the meta right now. And if you're playing against a Stark deck, this is going to be really good because you can kill Mira, you can kill Bran, you could kill Arya or Sansa, like definitely putting in 3 of these guys. Bran, we're going to be running at least 2, and I think 2 might be the right number. This could all change, but this is just my initial walkthrough. I pick out all the cards I want. Even if it seems like it's more characters than I need at the moment, I might just leave them in and trim the fat later. I don't really think we need to run an Eddard. That's not really what the deck is doing. His renown is nice, but we're not really trying to rush to a victory. Emissary of Hightower, maybe, but I don't think we need her. Now, Eleanor is pretty good because we're going to be running some limiteds. We might circle back to her, but I don't even think we need these reducers. I think Greatjon's really good, though. And because we're running First Snow of Winter, we're going to want to have some good characters that we can have that'll survive that. And I think Greatjon is a great character for that. Non-loyal's nice. House Florent Knights, again, this is another way to get characters off the board, which is the name of the game with this deck. So 3 of him. Who else we got? Marjorie's not bad. I'm wondering if we would even do a Marjorie. Like, I would consider this because it buffs Randall, or not Randall. It buffs Roos. They're all R's. So we might put in 1 March. She just gets her to First Snow. Now we're definitely going to want these ambush people. These are good for setup. They're cheap. You can ambush them in to kind of play around the First Snow. And they all have interplay effects, which kind of will move into my restricted choice. But let's get the rest of the characters first. I apologize, folks. I'm still fighting off that cold. It is very persistent. But I appreciate you sticking with me through it. Let's see. I know the other deck was running Sir Garland, but I don't really want to run like Knights. I feel like that dilutes from the goal a little bit. Discarding cards from hand might be hard to do. I think he's just overkill at this point. I don't know that we need to run Sir Garland. Because then you have to run like less efficient characters. Like Robar Royce is good, but what? I think we only have one summer plot. I know summer is pretty popular, but still. I'd rather have a different character than Robar. So he's good. These are just cards that you're thinking about for Snow of Winter. I like Marky Mark. He's really good, and he's a 4 cost. We might cut him. I don't know. We could circle back. We'll see. I don't think we need any of these guys. It's not, again, doesn't fit the theme of the deck. You always want to have the theme in mind. The more like branches you try to spread out with your strategy, the harder it's going to be to kind of win the game. You want to have your focus narrowed. How many characters does that put us at? 27. So that's definitely light. We want to consider adding more characters. Oh, I forgot the Scheming Septon. How did I miss him? Where is he? Scheming Septon? I know he's here. There he is. All right. So that puts us at 30. 30 is not bad. We may want more characters, but we'll come back to that. Attachments. We're definitely going to want Ward. It's a good way to keep characters on your side while also depleting their characters. So we might go 3 Ward. I kind of want to run Frozen Solid, but I don't know if we'll have the room. Certainly not room for 3, but we'll see. We'll see what 2 does for us. We might cut that. Okay, so his restricted card in the last video, he was doing Hightower. But as you can see, I guess we have 13 Tyrell cards. I mean, Hightower's a good card, don't get me wrong. But I think I would rather have for my restricted choice Flea Bottom. We have all these come into play effects. We have a lot of sacrifice going on between our March to the Walls and our Ramsey. So I think Flea Bottom just makes more sense than Hightower. It's really good. So that's what we're going to do with our restricted. We're going to be running Harrenhal. Again, it's keeping characters off the board. This is really good once you get them down to like 0 characters. If you remember last game, I just got stuck because I couldn't play Rob once he had Harrenhal out. And that's really good. Isle of Ravens, we're going to put 2 of these in here to shuffle cards back into our deck after we pitch them, either through Skagos or, you know, Ramsey shenanigans. This will be our draw, because I don't think we have any. We might get, like, something with pulling the strings, but Pleasure Barge is pretty easy draw. We're going to be running, I don't know if we want 3. We'll run 2 of that. I want the gold. I want the economy to be all gold, because gold can pay for our events, gold can pay for our attachments, and it'll pay for our characters. Doesn't matter if they're Tyrell, doesn't matter if they're Stark. So we want gold. How many locations is that? 16. We got the Arbor, Redwine Straits, and some Rose Roads. Let's put in 0 cost. Where is it? The Rose Road? Oh, it is. Weird. So we got the Rose Roads. Next we can do... So how much economy is that? That's 8 cards. And we're at 54 cards. Let's jump over to events real fast. We're probably going to come back to this. I think all the locations are super necessary. I don't think any of these are bad. But before I add any more locations, let's hop over to events. This deck is going to be very costly. So we definitely want, I think, the Iron Bank will have its due. And that's good with playing out Ramsey again. If you play a House Florent Knight, you can, boom, get rid of one of their characters, use this, get all 5 of that gold. Then you could play Ramsey, and that's 2 characters they've lost. So that's a pretty good card. And then we've got Might of the Reach, which will pair with Roose Bolton for Mega Kill. And it can just be pushing through a necessary challenge we need to. I don't think this is a bad card. Even if we don't see Roose, I don't think this is bad. Alright, so that puts us at 60 cards exactly. Isn't bad, but I think I want more economy. Because this deck is super expensive. I mean, we have trading, we have trade routes, we have Iron Bank. But I just want a little more gold. Arbor Marketplace isn't bad. Maybe Gates of the Moon? +2 gold, but you don't really want to be giving your opponent resources, making it easier for them to get out characters, so... But I guess we play trading. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Whatever. We'll try it out. It's the beauty of just playing around. You can try out stuff. If it doesn't work, pitch it. Frozen Solid. Do we need Frozen Solid? I think we need to look at our characters. How many 5 cost and above characters do we have? We got 3 Roose, 3 Ramsey, 3 House Florent Knight, 3 Greatjon. Okay, so that's 12 right there. And then we have all these people with Ambush. Oh, you know what? There's this one card that I missed. This one character. It's a Tyrell character with Ambush. And I'm totally... Here it is. Totally blanking on the name. That looks pretty good. But we have too many cards in our hands. Or in our deck. So we need to cut something. What do we cut? We might cut Marjorie. So let's look, before we start cutting characters, you can come over here to charts, which is really nice, and you can see kind of a distribution of icons. This shows you a distribution of card cost. We have a lot of intrigue. We can probably cut some of that. Bolton Flare is really good. He can kind of sneak around for snow. Yeah, let's just cut Marjorie. I'd rather have the ambush characters. 32 seems solid, and then, speaking of, let's just get rid of Frozen. And we'll try this out. Again, we might end up changing some stuff, but this is just like our first draft of the deck, and then you can either just start playing with it if you want. I like to go over to test. You can draw 7 cards, like, oh, this will be a potential setup that I have. Would I keep this? Honestly, I think I would, because you've got, look, we have this combo right here, Roose Bolton and Might of the Reach, so that would be killing 14 strength worth of characters. We've got Ramsey, we've got Bolton Flare, and our setup would be the Arbor and probably Hightower Spy. Maybe Bolton Flare. I don't dislike Bolton Flare. I feel like I'd rather have that out than her. So we would probably do that for our setup. And that's pretty good. Having the Arbor out turn 1 is great. We'd probably... Okay, so pretend you played these 2 cards on the setup. The Arbor and Bolton Flare. Now you're going to draw back up. You can select draw 2. Ooh, nice. We've got Ward for stealing characters. Greatjon is super great. And then you can kind of decide, all right, what plot would I want to play here? And I think the answer to that question is trade routes. We want to try and play out Roose Bolton, Mind of the Reach, maybe Ramsey. So you can say, like, you would get 3 gold from the Arbor, 10 gold from trading. That gives you 13 gold. And you can kind of do the math in your head to see, like, is it worth it? Can I even pull off that? So let's say we did that. Let's say we played trading, draw 2 cards. Nice, okay. Great John is so good. But we still might want to play this. The point is that you are able to test this deck you just built, and you can do a reset. Maybe you mulligan that hand, it wasn't good. This is a hand we probably would not keep. So we can pretend that we took a mulligan on this. Draw 7 new cards. And this looks instantly better. You got the Arbor, Flea Bottom, and that. And you might want to do Harrenhal. That's not bad. Totally your call, but I think I'd rather have a character out. So then you could say you draw back 3. Boom. We got this combo again. Roose Bolton, Might of the Reach. I'm getting excited, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I know I sound sick and low energy, but I'm getting excited about this deck. I cannot wait to play it on Friday, and I expect it'll be a lot of fun. So now that we've built our deck, we are going to come down here. We're going to name it. I usually go for something simple. Tyrell, Banner of the Wolf, but even that sounds long, so let's just do Tyrell Wolf. All right. Once you have saved your deck, you can come over here, you can click on it, go over to Actions, and you can download it as a text file. You'll just open this up. I apologize if this is different on Apple. I only have PC. That's like the only thing I know how to operate. So if this works differently on Macs and stuff, I apologize. So you are going to come over to the ironthrone.net. Again, I have that bookmarked. You'll create an account if you don't already have one. And then you'll just come over here to decks. Maybe once it loads, you'll go to new deck, and you will just copy and paste that right in there. Super easy. So you can see all the cards. It actually tells you if your deck is valid by basic deck building rules, the most up-to-date FAQ, and only cards that have been released yet. So we'll go ahead and save this. May take a second. All right, so now it's saved, and you kind of saw this last week, but you're just going to join a game, any game you want to, or you can start your own. I like to just join them, and now your deck's right here. So you would just go ahead, you'd click on your deck, and now you're ready to play. You're off to the races. Well, folks, I think that's going to do it for this video. Next time, I'm going to be playing this deck on the Iron Throne. Probably won't be against this guy, but we're going to see how the deck works. I promise I will not make any changes to the deck, but thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to throw a like and subscribe, that'd be great. It means the world to me. I'm so proud to be bringing back Green Dreamers for 2019. I hope you guys get a lot of enjoyment out of these videos. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time on Green Dreamers.